Welcome.
You parking spot, right?
I'm in front of him.
Yeah.
Welcome, everybody, today to another episode of Sanders Says. Excited to have you on the show today. It's a great one. It's a legendary one. Before we get started and I introduce our guests, I want to give a special shout out to our sponsors. We are powered by Czar Wellness, czarwellness.com to get all your topicals, your gummies, anything you need on the flower side of things. And it's THCA. It's legal all over the country, all over the nation. So you can order it. And we are dropping our collab. So you can go on Czar Wellness right now. You see it right there. Larry Sanders and Czar Wellness. We got a gelato pack, 5-pack on czarwellness.com right now. Go get it. Shipped all over the nation and top quality flowers. So you will not be disappointed. With further ado, let's get to our guest today. We have none other than the legendary, one and only, Karl Kani. Let me bring him to the stage.
Yo, Larry, what's up, man?
There you go. What's up, bro? How you feeling?
Everything's good.
Man, so what an honor to have you on the show. Thank you for being here for sure. You know, taking time out of your schedule. I know you got a lot of things going on right now, man. So I appreciate you for being here.
Absolutely. Pleasure to be here. Kick some knowledge and see what's going on.
Nah, for sure, man, for sure. So, I got a chance to walk in your show in Miami Fashion Week, and I just want to touch on that real quick before we start and just give my thanks and my gratitude for that experience. It was amazing. You know, grew up on Karl Kani, my father, my aunties, my whole family, and then everyone I admired and watched in the industry wore Karl Kani. So to me, it was like the first Supreme. You know, it just kind of set that standard for streetwear, and it was that brand to look for. So just really appreciate that experience.
Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. So growing up in the Bronx, I want to talk about how you developed your, this whole brand. But before the brand, before the fashion, who was the little boy Karl, that was running around the Bronx? What was he interested in, and what was his life like at that time?
Yeah, so basically, it was Brooklyn that we grew up in at.
Oh, Bronx, that's right, Brooklyn, that's right, yeah.
But so the young Karl was basically a kid that had a passion for fashion. You know what I'm saying? Like from a young age, the winters in New York used to be really bad back in the 70s. You used to have like 10 feet of snow. So a lot of times we'd be snowed in, can't go to school. So we had to go shovel the snow in front of our houses, right? So at the time, my mother used to buy me Pro-Ked sneakers. I used to see a lot of the older kids, they used to have on Pumas and Adidas looking fly, look cool dudes. So one day I went to my mom and said, Mom, I want some Pumas. She's like, what? She's like, you already got some sneakers. She said, let me see the bottom of your sneakers. So I showed it to her. She said, I don't see no holes in it. You're good. She said, if you want more than one pair of sneakers, go find yourself a job.
Yeah.
Straight up, 11 years old. So opportunity came my way. Sometimes I tell people when destiny's calling your line, you got to pick up. So as I'm shoveling the snow in my front yard at 11 years old, one of the neighbors come up to me and asked me if I could shovel her yard for her. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And she said, okay, I'm going to pay you. I was like, you're going to pay me to do this? I was like, wow, okay. So next thing you know, another neighbor asked me to shovel their snow. So me and my cousin turned this into a little business. We started going around to different neighbors, asking them if we could shovel their yards for them. And they started paying us. So I remember the first day we out there shoveling snow, I came home like $35. My hands was frostbitten and all the money was frozen in my pocket. I couldn't even get out my pocket. So I go home and I'm counting my money. I asked my cousin how much money he got, and I told him how much I got. We had enough to buy some Pumas. We went to Glenwood Flea Market, bought our first pair of sneakers. And from then, I was like, okay, this is it right now. This fashion is my calling. I felt a buzz from that. And being able to buy your own stuff at that age meant everything to me. My moms couldn't afford it, so I had to go do it for myself. So that was my first intake into establishing myself into feeling like an entrepreneur into fashion.
Right. No, and I understand that. I was a young kid who I had a lawn service, and I employed the homies just so we could buy clothes to go to Skate Town on Saturday, and look fresh and get out of Nietzsche and, whatever we can get out of the TJ Maxx at the time, or Ross, you know what I mean? And it was, I understand that. I really understand that. And then you said something you said a quote, and you said in one of your interviews, you said fashion was like your vehicle back then. It was like your car. It was your
Yep.
representation.
Mhm.
I guess speak about that a little bit, and you know, how you created a vehicle, right? For us, for our culture,
Mhm.
to kind of move into a different realm. I feel like we kind of move from um streetwear to like high end streetwear a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely. Yeah. Basically, growing up, we was always consumers. We weren't owners of any companies or own any fashion brands and stuff like that. So, I got into fashion. My dad used to get his clothes made by a tailor. My dad's Panamanian. I was born in Costa Rica. So he came to the United States. My father used to get his clothes made by a tailor. So I used to watch him go through the process of buying his fabric, making his own clothes. And in the projects in East New York, we were very competitive when it comes to fashion. Only the cool kids that dress well got respect. So I wanted that respect. So a lot of times we went shopping. If I found something fresh, I'm not going to tell my man where I got it from because we didn't want to both be wearing the same item. So people
right.
were very secretive when it came to dope
Mhm,
clothing, right? So I thought about my dad's tailor one day. I was like 15, 16 years old. I asked my dad, can I make an outfit with his tailor? Because I knew if I made an outfit, none of these dudes would have it on. And the
right.
thing was, back then, we were looking for clothes that were a little bit more baggier, but they didn't have any loose fitting clothing in the stores. So the only way to really get it done is to go and make it yourself. So when I
Mhm,
made my first outfit and I wore it around the hood, everybody's like, "Oh man, where'd you get it from? Where'd you get it from?" So I ain't about to tell them about my tail. I said, if you want one, I'll
right.
make you one. And
Right.
literally, that's how streetwear started. I started making clothes
Wow.
for dudes in the projects, and
Yeah.
then one thing kind of led to another. But I'll share this with you. The most important day of my life was one day back in like 1986. We're sitting in the park, and I'm bragging to these girls about these outfits I made for these dudes. They didn't believe me. So the guy named Chuck, they said, "Come over here, Chuck." She says, "Chuck, who made that outfit for you?" He's like, "Carl made it. Why, what's up?" She's like, "Well, let me see the jacket. Let me see your jacket." He takes off his jacket. He shows it to her. She's looking at it. And she's like, "Well, if Carl made it, how come his name ain't on it then?" She's trying to be a smart eye, but she was
Yeah.
completely right. The last thing on my
Right.
mind back then was building a fashion brand or putting my name in the clothing. You know why?
Right.
Because a lot of times with us and in life, it takes someone that looks like you that you could relate to achieve
Mhm,
success on a certain level to make you feel like if he could do it, I could do it. You know what I'm saying?
right.
So like we didn't have any other black people before me that had fashion brands in stores to make me feel I want to be like that guy. So a lot of times if Caucasian people do it, you feel, oh, that's just for white people. That's not for us. Like I
Mhm,
tell people all the time, like, just imagine there was a kid from the inner city who came up with, I'm making this up. Let's say there's a kid from the inner city that came up with a line of toothpaste, right?
mhm,
His
mhm,
dad was a dentist. He came out with some toothpaste. Let's say he marketed this toothpaste towards hip hop. He became a multimillionaire off of toothpaste.
mhm.
You know how many black kids right now be trying to do toothpaste?
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? So it takes
Right.
one of us to open the doors up, and that's what Karl Kani has done. We've opened the doors up for many, many who came after us to make you feel like, yo, he's from Brooklyn. He started a brand. He didn't go to design school. Man, I could do it too. And you see what
Right.
happened now with fashion. It's definitely opened the doors up for all of us to join the game now.
No, for sure. I would definitely say there are lot more designers and kids who are inspired to design, outside of just playing basketball or rapping, right? They're inspired to do more and be creatives. Were there any inspirations that led you in that direction other than, the fact that you just wanted to make clothes for yourself and your friends?
Yeah, my inspiration was, we want to do better for ourselves. We want to get out the hood. My mother was working, you know, long hours every day just to make ends meet, just to keep me and my sister in the Catholic school and to pay the bills. And I was like, they got to be a better way than this. And I was realizing how much money me and all my friends were putting into fashion. At the end of the week, we were all broke, but we had on fresh looking clothing. So
Yeah.
I saw that fashion is definitely a big appetite. But I saw that none of us was being represented in any fashion magazines. We didn't own any brands. There wasn't any black models. There's a lot of things that we weren't in. So we had two choices at that point. Either we complain about things or go out there and do something about it. And the Brooklyn
Mm,
way is we go out there and figure it out and make something happen. So at the time when I started, hip hop needed a fashion designer to represent hip hop. We were
right.
the first fashion brand to represent hip hop, have collaborations with artists like Michael Jackson, Tupac, Aaliyah, Biggie, Nas. The list goes on of all these artists that represented Karl Kani from day one, which is able to propel us to being a household international brand name. So it shows you the power of hip hop, and it shows you the power that could come for the inner city once we put our mind to it.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure. We definitely have that impact and power. And you showed it from it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't take, a bunch of people rallying behind you. Takes ideas and motivation and actually uh, putting foot to pavement, right? Actually getting the work done, which you've done throughout the years. What I see with your brand too, and I want to know how did it expand so globally? Like, was it a rap? Was it the rap game? What was it that made it just a global brand?
Yeah, great question. So, back in the days when we first started, we were running things here in the United States for like a good 10 years. And we used to have accounts come to us from Amsterdam and Germany and Italy to the magic show buying Karl Kani stuff. We had no idea how big the market was over there, right?
Mhm.
So one guy came, he was buying our stuff, and he was just sell out really quick. At the time, the brand was so hot in the States, we thought, man, this guy must be selling our stuff through the back door. So there's no way he's buying all this stuff, selling it in Germany. This doesn't make any sense. Because keep
Right,
in mind, none of us has ever visited Germany at the time. We did not know there was a hip hop community overseas. We did
yeah,
not know the power of hip hop. We didn't know that you're going to see a bunch of German kids, Italian kids, kids from Sweden, all bumping hip hop. They all wanted to be like what we were doing in the USA. We had no
right,
idea. So when things and here, we finally took a trip over to Germany, visited the stores, and we saw the impact of how the culture was being spread worldwide. And we knew these kids wanted to be like us, they want to talk like us, they want to dress like us. And the clothing that we made fit the nostalgia where they wanted to be. So that's how our brand started
right.
establishing ourselves internationally. We were the first brand, streetwear brand, to be established international in 25 foreign countries. We established, and we have 10 flagship stores in Japan as well. So the Karl Kani brands became a household name there. And a lot of this is through the power of hip hop. As hip hop grow, we grow. So there's not one foreign country where there's hip hop is being
Mhm.
played on the music or in the clubs that we're not in right now. So it shows you the power of what we have.
Legendary hip hop, like classic hip hop artists, that just live throughout time, have represented the brand, which is pretty dope. Do you, with that foundation, is that kind of the blueprint? Like, put the brand on, on the culture, get it on hip hop artists. Is it the same? Is that the same direction for the brand now, or what is the direction for the brand at
Well,
this
our
this
brand
moment?
has grown so much now. You got to think that, when our brand started, a lot of kids were in their 20s, teenagers wearing our brand. Now these people now are parents. They're in their 40s, 50s
Right,
now. So there's a whole
right,
new younger generation now. So now their kids are now wearing the Karl Kani brand. So it
right.
was just really a point of us really aligning ourselves and being really focused on design, being true to the culture, being
Mhm.
true to the fit, and understanding who we are as a brand and never changing, never bending, never folding as who we are as a brand. And the Can I spirit is all about asking yourself that question. Can I was derived from me asking myself that question. Can I come from the inner city and achieve success? Can I come from the inner city and build a global brand? I did not know the answer to that, but I knew if I call myself can I every day I have to answer that question. Yes, I can.
Yeah. Wow. Wow, that's powerful right there. For real. That's powerful. I think there's a lot that goes into a lot that goes into that branding, and then these words that we say every day, we choose to call our entities. It should be pretty specific, and that's pretty dope. I think that definitely probably played a role in your success. You know, taking it back a little bit, because I like to talk about childhood and get into a little bit about parents and trauma a little bit. But I ask you this, and if you feel comfortable with answering it, but what is your relationship with trauma?
It's funny, man. I think that our trauma growing up, my dad and my mom's, they got divorced when I was in the fourth grade, and we ended up moving into the inner city in East New York with my mom's, and then it's like I grew up trying to almost being the man of the house because I've been making my own money since I've been 12 years old. Once we moved there, then I got a newspaper route at 5:30 in the morning, delivering newspapers before school and stuff like that. So the only trauma I really had in my life is just, the split of my parents, which, kind of set me back. But at the same time, I think it actually helped me because I feel like if my father was around, I don't know how aggressive I would have been to go out there and make money on my own. You know what I'm saying? I
Mhm.
don't know how to handle things. And by my father not being there, I ended up growing up in the projects with all the guys out there, and they kind of grew me up too. So I learned a lot from being there. So if anything, the only thing that set me back was the breakup of them. But at the same time, I kind of saw some positive signs in it by being able to grow up on my own and make my own decisions as a young man.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I understand that. Did you know, that played into your career? Did you, because I had a distant father as well, um, because my parents split. I learned I had to have more self-care for myself. And self-care is something that has always kind of fluctuated throughout the years, but I've known it's been like vital to my success. What is your relationship with self-care? Like, how does your self-care look?
I mean, as far as taking care of myself physically, stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah. Just
Yeah,
taking
well,
care of Carl.
yo, let me tell you something. Like, my son was born in 1996, right? And 2 years from that, the competition here in the United States got really, really hard on us. I mean, like a lot of stores we were selling to was like, oh, we can't buy your stuff. We're gonna buy this newer brands here and that. And it was really stressful for us at that time because we was the king of the hill for so long, and all of a sudden now these same retailers are kind of turning their backs on us. And I looked at the game and I saw who was the players in the game, and I knew how tough this business was, right? And I knew a lot of these companies were just starting off. So at the beginning, everybody's hot, but they don't last past 3, 4 years. That's when the problems really start. And I said to
Mhm.
myself, this business is not a sprint; it's a marathon. So at that time, I said, I have to outlast all these dudes. You know what I'm saying? I knew I will. And I knew at that point, I said to myself, your physical and your mental go together. You're going to be in this for the long haul. That's when I cut out all red meat. I cut out all starches, started doing
Mhm.
cardio every day. I was like, I'm gonna outwill all these dudes. And one by
Yeah.
one, all those brands started falling off because I knew for sure they ain't gonna want to do this after a while. This business ain't
Mhm.
fun after a while if you ain't bang. At the beginning, it's fun because everything you put out sells, but it ain't. But I realized that if you're physically strong, if you're mentally strong and physically strong, you're able
Mhm.
to withstand what it takes in this business to be able to survive. And that's why we've been doing it for 34 years strong right now, because we understand what it takes to really have longevity in the fashion game.
Right.
So
Right.
health, physical, mental, they all go together.
Wow. So when things started dipping in your career, on that side of things, you picked up on the self-care part. You cut some things out of your life and turned your
Absolutely.
regimen up.
Yeah, because what I said to myself, control the things you can control. If you
Right.
really want this, it depends on how much you want it. If you want it, you're gonna do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Because like
Right.
when you work out, you eat right, you feel you could dominate anything. So when this stress comes on,
Mhm.
the last thing you want to do is be stressed out in business. Then you look at yourself in the mirror, you're looking fat, you're out of
Oh
shape.
yeah.
That's almost like
Right.
a whirlwind of negative shit. You're not looking good, you're not feeling good. Man, ain't nothing going good. But let's just
Right.
say you stressing out in business, but your body is tight, you're looking right. You could deal with this now because now you got one positive thing because that you can control. The business part is going to be what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You can't really control that part. You can put all the efforts into it, but you're not really sure how it's going to work. But your
Mhm.
physical, there's nothing that could stop you from taking care of your physical at all.
Right.
Nothing but
Right.
yourself. It's all mental.
Right.
You could do it if you want to do it.
Right. 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 No, that's positive. That's powerful right there. That is. So I think
And
you
another
get
thing
caught
too,
in these
like
ruts.
even if things ain't going right, because sometimes people will know if your business ain't popping like that, right? So let's say your business ain't popping and people see you out and you ain't looking tight. Like,
Yeah.
he's gone. Yeah, he used to be hot back in the day. Let's just say the shit is out there, your business ain't popping, but every time they see you, you just looking right. Everything's
Yeah.
right about you. They're like, man, I thought, but man, this
Yeah.
can't be. You looking too right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So
For sure.
you never want both things to hit you at the same time, two negative things. You gotta offset,
Right.
you gotta fight, and your will to win gotta be so strong, man, that nothing's gonna stop you from getting to the top at all. There's no excuses. Failure is not an option at all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. No, that's awesome. That's definitely the mindset of a champion. And that's what it takes to to keep it going. So would you say that was almost like the breaking point uh in the career?
Yeah, I mean, that was a defining moment because I didn't want to lose
Yeah.
it. 'Cause to me, it's like there's no other brand, period, streetwear brand could ever say they started streetwear before Karl Kani. No,
Right.
not one brand. Not saying we was the first clothing brand. Obviously, there's other clothing brands before we started. There was Ralph
Mhm.
Lauren, Tommy Hilfiger, Giorgio Armani, Calvin Klein,
Mhm.
Guess, Levi's, Lee. Those brands existed. When I say streetwear, I'm talking about somebody who actually came from the streets, someone who actually represented the streets in terms of ads, somebody who opened up doors. When
Mhm.
we started, there was no black models out there, bro. You know how we got our first black models for our fashion shows we did back in 1990 and 91? We went on the streets and asked dudes, yo, you want a model? So when you look at our
Mm.
first fashion show, you see dudes walking on down the runway like they walking down the block, and the
Right, right.
same type of looks is hot right now. We
Yeah,
established all of that. We opened up the doors for all of that. You know what I'm trying to say? So
yeah,
that's a testimony to the strength of what we've done for the culture and done for the business, and as to where we are today.
yeah. No, that's amazing for sure. Um, any mentors that you would say kind of helped you a little bit throughout the game, or people you look to, kind of molded your game after, or saw?
Yeah, in terms of fashion, there was no mentors in fashion because there was nobody like us to, do that. Only thing that inspired us was brands that we were wearing. We
Mhm.
saw what they were not doing that we wanted. We saw that we wanted to be loud and bold. We wanted colors. We wanted big logos. Nobody was doing that. So we had to go do that on our own. So, I mean, to be honest with you, the only inspiration we had was dudes that was hustling. Those are the only ones that had any money. Those are the only ones that showed you there's more out there for life that you get.
Mhm.
But we just applied. We took visually what we saw, but applied it to business. The same hustle mentality, but just put that mentality into business. You know what I'm saying? So like it's the
Mhm.
same hustle. Hustle is hustle. So you could
Right.
hustle illegal stuff, you could hustle in business. And just like a dude be hugging the block from 12 a.m. to 12 midnight, you do the same mentality in business. You just never stop hustling. There's no days off. There's none of that. You know what I'm saying? We always got our mind on the grind in terms of how we're gonna get better, how we're gonna expand the brand, how we gonna, achieve the goals that we have set out for us.
Dope. Now, all your designers that you have in house, is it mostly you and then a few other, like how do you your infrastructure? How is that created?
Yeah, so right now, like I said, we have a Japanese collection. We also have a European collection, and we have a USA collection. So we have a design team in Europe, design team in Japan. Then we also have a design team here in the USA. So our job, what we do, we oversee and set tones as to what people want to wear in Japan and what people want to wear in Europe. And we'll find there's different wants in Japan than there is from Europe. That's very
Mm,
important. Japanese style is very different, and what's happening in Japan may not work in Europe. And we had to learn
mm.
that by affiliating ourselves with designers from those countries who understand the culture, understand the brand. They all want to be hip hop inspired, but they want it in a certain type of way, a certain type of fit. So that's how we kind of
Mm.
expand and been able to be successful for so many years that way.
Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. What's the can you speak on the difference a little bit between the two?
Yeah, Japan is the fits are more slim.
Mhm.
Japanese people, they're not that big. So the
Right.
fits are much more slimmer. We have a golf line in Japan, which is our number one division right there. We have some professional golfers from Japan that's representing the brand, so that's doing very well for us. They love big logos in Japan. They love the Kanai signature in Japan. Europe is a lot, and in Japan they like a lot of muted colors, black, grays, whites, like that. In Europe now, they're very bright. They still want the baggy fit. They want the bright colors, the reds, the yellows, the orange, the teals, the purples, stuff like that. So we have to like design our collections a little bit different in between. And the USA market is very clean now. It's
Mhm.
very small logos, very clean, very simple, two-piece sets. So every market is a little bit different. They still want the brand, but the clothing has to represent what the people want.
Yeah. Now, I have a publishing company that I'm working with, and we're doing some nonprofit stuff, and we're working to teach kids more about writing literacy, writing cursive. Them not understanding cursive, and your brand, it's in cursive.
Right.
Can we speak to that a little bit? Like, is
Yeah,
has that?
that's funny you brought that up. I mean, because I just heard about that recently that these kids
Yeah,
don't like to read. They're not even teaching in schools anymore. I heard.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, why they doing that? I have no idea. But we started. We luckily we do have a block font as well that we do for Carl
right,
and I. And I'm hoping that the signature can propel itself to the way where people just know what it looks like. Just look at it as a
yeah,
logo. You know what I'm trying to
right,
say? Tupac to me is one who made my signature that popular because
yeah,
he's got many. We have over 200 pictures of Tupac wearing different pieces of Carl Kani with the signature on it, and he's worshipped like a god in so many foreign countries. So when they see him, they want that symbol that he's
yeah.
wearing on his shirt. And in Europe, they don't even call me Carl Kanai. I don't know if you know that. In Europe, they pronounce my name very differently out there.
Hmm.
If you say Carl Kanai out there, they won't know what you're talking about. It's Kani.
Uh,
They
Connie,
Kani.
Car,
Yeah, Kani.
Connie.
We say Kanai, they be like, no, Kani. So Kani in their language is pronounced Kani. So
Oh, okay.
forget the Kani. You go out in Germany, ask for Kani, they're gonna be like, "What are you talking about?"
Connie. I
It's
gotta
Kani.
remember that. I was just out of London. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
it's Kani
Connie.
out there. Uh-huh.
Okay, nah, sweet. So what's you did the fashion show recently in Miami. Is there something coming up soon? That you'll be displaying some more articles of clothing in because you have a new collection that you're dropping, right?
Yeah, we do. So basically, what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna do an art gallery soon. We're gonna be touring some major cities with that. We're gonna get the date set up by the end of this month. We're gonna basically do an art gallery showing all our different photo campaigns from the '90s. We have iconic photos of
Oh, sweet.
never seen photos of Tupac, Nas,
That's
Snoop,
hard.
Dr. Dre, Biggie, wearing Karl Kani products, Michael Jackson. So we're gonna
Sweet.
do and all these pictures were shot on 35 millimeter. Cause understand back in the days there was no digital cameras. So these are like really clear photos, distinctive, and it will just show people what the 90s culture is really all about in real time through the eyes of photographs. And no other brand could show you what the 90s was about on campaigns in Vibe Source, Double XL, commercials on MTV and BET that way. That's the way we want to roll it out and do a art gallery showing that and also displaying some of the vintage items as well too.
That's gonna be that's gonna be amazing.
Yeah.
That's gonna be amazing. So you just do installations. Did you say in the beginning how many states you're gonna do? I didn't hear. Or
No,
did you
no,
say
we didn't. No, we're gonna do all the major cities like New York,
okay,
Atlanta,
okay,
Chicago, Los
okay,
Angeles. We're gonna do the major cities right now. So we're in
okay.
negotiation with different art galleries right now, and we might get MC Light to come DJ at some events, stuff like that. So we're gonna bring back some old hip hop '90s culture. People that
Yeah.
represent the clothing, people who's mentioned my names in their songs. We'll hope that these artists will come out as well too. We have like over 12 to about 15 songs of artists mention my names in their songs. So we want those artists to come out in those cities that we do the art galleries.
Oh, that's gonna be amazing. I
Yeah.
gotta catch that. I gotta
Yes, we
catch it,
will.
man.
Yeah, yeah,
Art, fashion, hip hop. I mean, calling my name, bro. So
yeah.
that's gonna be dope. You know, we spoke earlier about these kids who are inspired to make clothing in the fashion world. What would you give them? What advice would you give them? A kid just starting out, don't have much. Um, what would you tell him? I mean, I think you've told him a lot already in this podcast, but what would you say to the young Carl?
The most important thing is like make people like what you like. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about trying to dress everybody. Because if you can make people like what you like, then you could really set your own direction, meaning that you're not
Mhm.
gonna be copying nobody. Your stuff is gonna be unique, it's gonna be different, and you can create your own lane in fashion. And the other thing I would say too is look to see what's missing out there. Like I'm sure I saw what was missing because when we went shopping, they didn't have the type of clothing that we want. So I'm sure if you want to be a designer, there must be something out there that you see that's missing that you want to make different, you want to change. And that's why I would focus on that. The other major thing is coming up with your brand name and your logo is also important too. Those things go well together. Like, yeah, I think like when you think about Adidas, you think about their logo, right?
Mhm.
Think about Nike, you think about that swoosh. You think about Polo, you think about that Polo horse. So whatever brand you come up with, when I see your name, I need to think about something of that logo needs to coordinate back with that name, and you got to stick to it because sometimes people want to change their logos and change up the look. And to me, sometimes it feels good, but people really want simplicity in their life. If that was the case, Polo shouldn't be using the horse anymore. He's been around since 1967.
Yeah,
Tommy shouldn't be using that flag anymore. He's been around forever. So, right, there's something to be said about sustaining something over a period of time that people feel comfortable with it and understand what your brand is about. So they'll be able to align themselves with you over a stronger period of time.
yeah. No, definitely. That's definitely some great advice right there. I know a lot of young designers. A lot of people want to get into the industry. I think it looks like a huge mountain, but just that advice right there, leading with your own inspiration instead of trying to recreate something. Just make people like what you like, and draw that to you. Right, you have more of a playing field to create. So no, that's great advice. Um, we talked about your impact on the fashion world in the beginning, on streetwear, on hip hop, on culture. Um, a lot of brands I see have, they kind of go into different realms, right? They might go into sportswear, or, um, you know, do you see, is Karl Kani primarily just going to stay in the streetwear realm, or do you see yourself maybe going into sportswear, or any other realms like that?
Yeah, good question. So yeah, we in 1998 we had a line of suits with a company called Nima, and it was doing very very well. It was a licenses that we had, and unfortunately the company Nima they actually closed down or we shut down that division at the time. But we saw that there is a need out there for better high end fashion clothing. And that's even for say because if you think about the age groups of Kanai, the customers that we have with our brand, like I said, we have the young teenagers as well as people who grew up wearing the brand. It's a lot
Right.
older now. So the only way to really expand on that is create new divisions. So we do plan on doing a more high-end couture line for Kanai.
Okay.
We've attempted on it in the past and it's done well, but now it's really something to really want to bring out in the whole international market. So brand expansion is very important. You got to do it at the right time and make sure the customer out there's a want for that product line, because what you don't want to do is come out with lines that are not successful to tarnish your name. So everything has to be done in due course and due time.
Okay. No, that makes sense. No, I would love to see some Karl Kani, some kind of street, some kind of sportswear. You know what I'm saying? Or something I could throw on the court would be dope.
There you go.
Yeah, that'd be sweet, man. But yeah, we're coming up on 30, man. I think we got some great insight from you. I really appreciate you for being on the show today. It's been legendary, man. And I look forward to the art installations that you have coming in the major cities to come. And also overseas, man, when you start rolling up those shows overseas and start getting active, I would love to come out there and see that as well. Man, I just appreciate you for being on the show today and your time here and spending some time with me in Miami as well, man. And just look forward to everything you got going. Karl Kani has been around for, longer than I've been alive. Um, I'll be 36 this year. We got the same birthday.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, my
You
dad,
said you get the same birthday?
no, I said, well,
Me?
I'll be 36 this year.
Oh,
So,
oh,
you know
oh.
what I'm saying?
I thought you said me and you got the same birthday. Okay.
No, no, no. I'll be 36 this year. But yeah, just stealing my dad Karl Kani shirts out the closet, man, and wearing them to school. I just, we go way back, man. So,
Nah, man.
um,
No, I definitely appreciate that, man. I definitely appreciate, the stories that I hear from people, like how they can remember their first Karl Kani sweatshirt they got on, or like how
oh yeah,
this brand has really touched a lot of people in a nostalgic way. And at the time when I started, I didn't know that we would have that impact on people. And it's something to be said about that. And it's something to be said about never really giving up on your goals and your dreams. 'Cause I'm living testimony that there will be tough times. It's gonna happen. You gotta prepare for it. But once you make that decision that you want to become an entrepreneur, you gotta take everything that comes along with it. You know what I'm trying to say?
hmm
It's not about the good times. Every single thing comes along with it. You ask for this, accept
hmm
it, and just charge it to the game. Keep the machine moving. That's really the key because you
yeah,
cannot dwell because no one cares. Like if you're going through stuff
hmm
and you're dealing with issues, no one cares. Suck it
right,
up, brush yourself off, keep the machine moving. That's the goal.
right,
Never give up. That's the process.
right,
There will be a better day, and I'm living proof
yeah,
of that.
yeah. No, man, I love it, man. It's been inspiring. It's been inspiring for real. From the what you named, why you named it, what you named it, to changing your diet and your regimen in the midst of adversity, and it's a lot of keys to this, and I think that a lot of takeaways.
Well, I'll tell you one thing too, like in terms of the regimen too, like, I gauge my body off of my stomach. Like
Hmm.
anytime I see myself losing my six pack, I go harder. You
Yeah.
know what I'm trying to say? To me,
Yeah.
you get that lump jumping off
Yeah.
there. It's hard to get rid
Yeah.
of.
It's a wrap. Right, right. Can't
You
hard to
know,
get over the hump,
you
yeah,
know what I
for real.
mean? So you
Hmm.
got to slow it down. So just keep your life simple. Just cut out the starches. I mean, you do what you got to do. Again, this is all about where you want to be in life, right? Some people are
Hmm.
just cool. There's some people like will say, "Yeah, look, I just want a good job at the grocery store. I want to be a manager, and I'm good." And there's nothing wrong with that, right? So this conversation may not be for that person, but if for
Hmm.
that person want to be an entrepreneur and be sustained for decades and decades, you got to change your mentality if that's what you want
Yeah.
to do.
Nah, 1000%. 1000%. Well, man, again, thank you. Thank
Thank
you, man. I hope we get around to
you.
for real and run this back in a few months, whatever, man. But appreciate you, man, and look forward to everything you have coming in the future.
Thank you, Larry. Appreciate it. It was great kicking with you guys, your whole team out there, you and your brother and the other guys, man.
Yeah.
It's great to meet you. Thanks for having me on your show. Anytime, bro. Hit me up.
Okay, we'll do.
All right, thank you.
Peace. Whew, legendary Karl Kani right there. Man, don't get no better than that. Dropped so many gems. It was enlightening. It was inspiring. Man, that was dope. You know, in the midst of adversity, in the midst of change, in the midst of, you know, great loss, it's pivotal to focus on what you can control. Like, what can you control? Your health, working out, your diet, changing the things that you can change. And that, you know, that's gonna make you withstand. That's gonna make you last through whatever you're going through. And like you said, you don't want to have two things. You don't want to be dealing with your body over here and dealing with your finances and your, you know, get one of them in order. And the one that you can control at all times is your body. So great message today. Great story. Karl Kani, the beginning of streetwear, the beginning of streetwear, the first person to create a brand, to put on our people, to put on the artists and the rappers. It's amazing. That's amazing. I'm honored. I'm thankful. So before we end, we're gonna give another special shout out to our sponsors. We are powered by Zara Wellness. And this right here, this that Larry Sanders pack. Yeah, this that Larry Sanders pack right here. We got the pre-rolls in here. Five pre-rolls. Go to ZaraWellness.com. Go get your pre-rolls right now. We ship them all over the nation. Anywhere you can, anywhere that the mail comes, you can get this right here. And this is some high-grade flour, THCA, burns great, smells great. Gotta try it. So as this continues, I'm definitely gonna start giving out some of these, sending these to people. We're gonna run some contests pretty soon and get some of these packs out. So appreciate everybody who tuned in to Santa Says today. Even though it was a Thursday and not a Monday, y'all still came and showed love and rock with me. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in. It's been love. And, you know, I'm coming back Monday, so it's going to be a quick turnaround. And, you know, I'll see y'all soon. Peace.